Right now, the job market feels tougher than ever. You send out dozens of CVs only to get silence and crickets. It's really frustrating. It's quite draining as well, and it probably makes you question if you'll ever land your next role. But here's the good news: you don't need to outwork the system, you need to outsmart it. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how to do that using AI. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Moise, and I run my own AI agency. And for the last 5 years, I've been advising a lot of large CEOs of Fortune 500 companies on their data and AI strategies, helping them to cut through the noise and deliver actual results. Now, I want to share with you some of the learnings and some of the tools and approaches to help you with your AI solutions. So, in this particular video, I want to show you how to automate your job applications using AI and even tailor your CV to the specific role. And hopefully, this saves you a ton of time and makes your job applications way more successful. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to use two tools, Apify and NAN, to handle the automations. And AI is going to be used to personalize your CV and save it to your own location so you can use it for your applications. And by the end of this demo, you're going to have a system that makes job hunting smarter, faster, and hopefully a lot less stressful so you land your next role. All right, let's dive into the demo. Okay, so in order for us to mass apply to a ton of jobs and become really successful using AI, we're going to build our solution on NAN, which is a tool where you can build AI and workflows. And essentially, our solution is going to consist of three main steps. So we're going to be able to get the LinkedIn job and the CV. We're going to create some sort of match to know what's suitable. And then we're going to be able to rewrite the CV and get it published into an achievable location. So something like a Google Drive in this case. So the example we're going to use is this CV. It's Jane Doe. It's one I've just randomly plucked from the web. So it's not really going to represent what a CV should look like, but it's going to do the job for us today. Okay, so to get started, we are going to start off on the left-hand side to get a LinkedIn job and candidate CV. We want to set a trigger for this. So a trigger will essentially tell us how often we want to run our AI. If you click on the plus sign here and you type in schedule trigger, you should be able to get the same icon that I have. And if you double click on it, you can customize it how you like. So you can set it to a number of days, whether it's once a day, twice a day, whatever time you want to trigger it, if it's a specific minute. In our scenario, I'm going to say that we want to do it every single day at 7 a.m. At 7 a.m., it's going to scrape up how many jobs we want and modify our CV accordingly. Okay, the next step, after you set your trigger, we're going to use a tool called Apify, which is an external tool outside of NAN. So to get this icon, we can do the same thing and we can click Apify on the right-hand side. Double click that, you are able to get the tool. If I just click on this, what we can see in this, there is a link to an Apify account. So you can press the edit icon, you can add an API key to it. You can select run an actor. You want to select in the operation, run an actor and get a data set because we want to get the output of what Apify produces. Then Apify store actors. And from list, this is going to be on your Apify account. So if you've got more than one actor in there, like you want to scrape TikTok and other stuff, you can do that. But for this scenario, we're just going to scrape LinkedIn. And the rest of it is pretty standard. Once you're done, you can just press execute step if you've got all the connections up and running. So if we just go to Apify and I show you how it's working. So within Apify, if you go to Apify store, you're able to select a ton of different scraping tools. Apify is great for pulling information wherever you want. So in here, we've got Instagram scraper. So you can scrape Instagram profiles, TikToks, X, tweets, whatever you want. For our instance, we want to be able to scrape LinkedIn because we're assuming in this case, LinkedIn is where we're going to get all the jobs that we would ever need. And within LinkedIn, there's quite a few options of different scraping tools, but we're going to select this one called LinkedIn Job Scraper PPR by Curious Coder. It's got 5-star ratings used by 7,300 people. And that's the one that is generally the most accurate out of all of them. So that's the one we want to select. Once you select that, you can go into LinkedIn Job Scraper and really be able to customize it. So the first thing you want to do in here is look at the URL. So this URL is whatever job posting you want to get from LinkedIn. So in our scenario, we're going to say we want a graduate data analyst job, but you can pick software engineering and whatever search you want. So in LinkedIn, if you click here and you change your description to graduate software engineer and make sure it's kind of at 24 hours, because then you can get a daily update. Or if it's per week, you can change it to per week and customize it how you like. You can then pick the URL from the top and essentially add it into Appify. It's really that simple. Once you've done that, you can then customize however often you want the number of jobs. So in this case, I'm going to say we want to run 100 scrapes of jobs every single day, but you can do 1,000. It's literally unlimited. The only caveat is the more you do, the more it's going to cost you. So on Appify, this is a free account, by the way. So you don't have to pay for anything. You can use up to $5 for scraping. So the more you scrape, the more costly it's going to be. So I've used about 58 cents so far, and that can give you a number of different scrapes that are going on as well. Once you've done that, you can press start and save, and it will save your actor as it is. If you do want to be able to connect to NAN, you can go into settings and be able to get under APIs and integrations, be able to get your API key. And that's going to feed what we discussed in NAN to plug your API key into. The next item we're going to use is called a limit. So even though we get 100 items out of Appify, what we want to do is not really collect all of them for this particular demo, that is. Otherwise, it's just going to take a while to load and it's not going to be very efficient. So we can put a limit. Again, go to the right-hand side, type in limit, and this is going to tell you how many items you want to reduce the numbers down to. So in this scenario, I've said 5 items. So it's really simple, just 2 lines, 5 items. And do you want to keep the last items or the first items? I can select first items. It doesn't really matter, or last items, whatever you want to do. You can execute that step. And then afterwards, we can get document. So this is the CV I was showing you earlier. So what I've done is I've saved the CV in a Google Drive. And in order to do this, you need to make sure that you have your credentials and your Google Drive APIs all set up. It's a bit of a process in order to get that, but you also have the right documentation. If you click here on supporting information and help you follow the instructions. Once you've done that, it's really easy. You can connect to Google Docs, enable Google Drive, all the other Google functionality that's there as well. So it's a pretty useful one to enable and connect with NAN. And then you can connect to your document. You can paste your document ID in here as well. So to get your document ID, if you look at the top URL, anything after the D and the slash until about the number 4, I have it in my one. That's going to be your document ID. So it's going to be different for whatever document that you end up having. Perfect. And that's executed successfully. So from these few steps, what we've done is we've scheduled a trigger at 7 a.m. every single day. We've gone to Appify and we've said to Appify, hey, can you take 100 jobs that are graduate data analysts from LinkedIn and tell me some information about those jobs, what the description is, who the company is, pretty much everything you want to know about it. What we've then done is put a limit purely for this demo to say, hey, we don't want 100 jobs. We want just 5 jobs perhaps. And then we are going to go get a document. So we are going to get our CV that we want edited. So what you want to do for your own example is you want to put your own CV in there into a Google Drive and make sure the URL that you're selecting and the ID you're selecting is going to be unique to whatever CV that you end up having. And this is really almost the data collection side of things done. All right, the next step after this is going to be match the suitable role. So every single job that comes from LinkedIn that we've scraped is not necessarily going to be a perfect match to your own CV or your own job. There might be roles in there that have nothing to do with your job. There might be roles in here which require 5, 10, 15 years of experience that are not really suitable. So what we can do is we can use a messenger model function in OpenAI to be able to help us do that matching and filtering exercise. So to get this, we can type in OpenAI on the left, and in here we have messenger model, which we can click and drag into our console. If I just click messenger model, what we have here is we have a connection to an OpenAI account. So this is something you would need to set up yourself. Similar to how you got an API from Google, you would need to get your credentials from OpenAI. Luckily, OpenAI is a lot simpler to be able to get the API key, and you can press the pen icon here to edit it accordingly. Resource is text. You can do image, audio file, whatever you want, but we're going to select text. Messenger model. And here you can pick whatever model you like, right? And that's really up to you. If you want a really expensive, high performing model, you can pick one. I've gone for a GPT-4o Mini, and I think it does the job perfectly fine. So you can pick the same one. And then what we're going to do is we are going to put a bit of a prompt in. So you can even use, to be honest, ChatGPT to tailor your prompt. But what a prompt is doing is saying that you're an expert recruiter who is analyzing the following job description and CV, and you're looking for a suitable match for the role. And we're also saying that in the output, we want to say, describe the job, say if it's suitable, true or false, and give a small reason why it's suitable too. And then we're linking in the job names and job descriptions. And we want to make sure that when we are linking in the job name and job descriptions, we are pulling it from the left-hand side. So for example, if we say job name, we can go to the limit that we had before, and we can paste in company name, which is this one, right into here. So you can just click and drag and put it in. And similarly, you can do the same thing for job description, which is going to be description HTML over here. So you want to click and drag. And then you want to put in the candidate's resume. So this is your own resume. If we hide this on the left-hand side, you are going to use get document and then click and drag content over here. So in order to make this functionally work, we are using the information that we had in the previous steps. So rather than just typing, here is an example job, here's an example CV, like you would do in ChatGPT, we are using the data that we had already generated from before and just clicking and dragging it across. It's pretty simple in order to get that done. And what that will do is give us an output to be able to say whether the job is suitable or not. And what I have also done in here, just to be on the safe side, is I put a little bit of a JSON. And to be honest, this is something I did afterwards, just to make sure the output of the results is in the format that I want. So saying, make sure we have suitable, put the description in, put the justification in, required, those kinds of informations, just so I'm able to customize it the way I want. Again, if this works for you, you can add this in. Maybe it's more just an add-on to make sure I'm getting the right information out there. And yeah, that's pretty much it to get your match. Using AI to, see whether something is suitable or not. We can just execute the step and let that run in the background. So you can see if we had 100 different actors or 100 different CVs running, it will probably take a little bit more longer in order to fully complete. Cool. So we've got 5 items here. In the filter, so if I double click filter, what we want to be able to do here is to say, out of all of the ones that have been selected, we just want the ones which have a match called true. So some jobs will say false, some will say true as a match, and we just want to keep the ones which have the word true in them. And for the left-hand side, we want to make sure we are pulling in the actual content of the job itself. So message content is suitable, which is on the left-hand side here. And we're just going to click and drag it there. And then you can say true, and it should filter out for the results which have a true match in it. Okay, great. Now what we can do is add a limit. Again, this is more for this demo. You don't have to add the limit, but it speeds things up. And for this case, I'm just limiting it to about 1 item. And in this limit function, you can see 1 item and just keep the first item, right? That's step number 2, pretty much done. So we've got the jobs, we've got the CV, we've put them both together. We've said, okay, this job is right based on our CV. Now the fun part. Now this is the part where it gets a little bit more complicated in terms of the logic. But what we're going to end up doing here is be able to look at your CV and make sure we can modify that CV, keeping the same structure, keeping the same format, and making sure we upload it into Google Drive. So in order to do this, we are going to use an AI agent. So if we click on the right and you type AI, and you can click here, select AI agent, it takes you to this box. So if you click AI agent in here, it's automatically going to say connect chat trigger node, but you want to say define below. After you do that, you want to put your prompt in, some user messages, which is similar to before, but you want to call out your job description and your resume, which you can do using the previous step. So I've done it from the job description that we used to have before in the limit. And you can take your own resume from the documents that we had before. So this step makes sure we get the right information in. What we then want to do, we are going to use a prompt to be able to tell it to tailor the CV. So what's something that's quite important in here is to be able to, on the left, if I just open this up a little bit more, is order to get some instructions in here to say, here's your role. What I want you to do is make sure we have the same summary sections that are currently in the CV, making sure nothing has been changed or removed, and keeping the format exactly the same. But the main change here is just to modify the existing sections to tailor it to the CV. I've then put in some custom formatting rules in here because sometimes the output format can be a little bit weird. So I've just made sure it's in a cleaner format and put a bit of a snippet of code as well in here as well to make sure it's just the way we want it. And this can be a bit of an iterative process. So you've got to prompt it, see the result, and then prompt it again to make sure the output that you want is correct. But if you want to copy this code and try it for yourself, feel free to do so. It works. Now, for every AI agent, there has to be a brain. So what's going to power it is OpenAI's ChatGPT model. So what I've done is I've connected it to the same OpenAI account that I had before. And again, I've picked GPT 4.1 mini. You can pick whatever you like. You can see there's a massive list in here of pretty much every GPT model you can think of. So feel free to play around with it if you want to. And that's the step of the actual brain. So all the heavy lifting in terms of creating and thinking about how you want to modify your document happens here. So if there are errors with how it's formatted, it's not really matching the right job description, it's not exactly how you want, generally the prompting is where it's going to be able to get modified. But not everything happens the way we want. So what we're going to do is after we've gone to the AI agent, I've put in a bit of a code snippet in here because what we want to do is have some of this formatted in HTML. And again, this is actually something I've just took from Claude. So you can use ChatGPT. And what I want to do is just make sure we have the right formatting in the final CV as well. We're removing any funky formatting that we essentially have. And we can see all these replace functions that are happening here. And kind of long gets to about 59 lines. I know it's just something that is needed in order to do the cleanup. Generally, you can probably get away with this if you're happy with some slight formatting changes to your CV. And you want to maybe get it to a certain format and then make some minor tweaks manually yourself. But in order to make this a nice automated demo, I put this code in as well. The last step in here is the second last step, should I say, is to really create a document. So in this create a document, what we're going to do is connect to our Google Drive. And in our Google Drive, and you should already have the Google connection from when you created your document. So the connection should be the same. And what you want to do is make sure we have the right folder name structure and the right resume title as well. And you want to say create. So I need to run the first previous steps. So let me run the rest. These ones tend to take a little bit of time. Okay, so once you've created your document, this will come up as a blank sheet in your Google Drive. So it's creating almost a placeholder for your new CV to go inside. What we then want to do as a final step is actually populate it with the content that we got from our AI agent. So if you remember, our agent came up with an idea of the new content that we want to generate, but we haven't got to a point where we've uploaded it. This final HTTP request that we created, and just to go back, I can type in HTTP and you get your HTTP request. This final HTTP request is going to be a patch update. So you have a lot of options: get, option, post, put, right? But we want to do patch because our file already exists inside our Google Drive. We want to select in our URL, you want to copy essentially this URL that we have right here because this takes you to Google Drive. The only difference is now we want to make sure we've got this JSON ID, which is our document ID. So after the slash of files, you just want to click and drag this ID function from create a document into here, because that's going to be your placeholder of where your document's going to get created. We then want to select Google Docs Zero Authentication 2 API, your account that you have, send headers. You're going to put context type text/HTML, send the body raw. And then in your body, what we're going to end up putting in here is just the script that came from your code. So you're just going to put this HTML in here because that's the format that we're going to have it in. And it's pretty simple as an expression. And if you do all of that and everything is connected very well, then you are going to have the finalized version of your document. So I'm just going to save this and execute this step, which you can do, at the top, you have the play sign. Perfect. So this whole flow works correctly end to end. We've got all green, all ticks, and we've got the jobs, we've got the matching, and we've got it published. So let's see the end result. If I go to this CV, which was our original one, you can see it had data analyst, summary, experience, 2 job experiences pretty much in there. And then in my Google Drive, what we can see is I've got something called data analyst resume. I've actually got 2 copies, one that we just ran right now and a previous older version. So if I click, let's say this one, you can see the formatting is pretty much exactly the same. I think it's just the bullet points have been expanded. The summary has been enhanced as well. And if we didn't really put that sort of coding in there and the extra function and formatting, the design would be a little bit all over the place as well. And that's pretty much a demo. If you want to be able to customize it your own way and tweak it to your own jobs, what you can do, you can change it in Apify. So in Apify, you can put your LinkedIn URL of the jobs that you want. So whatever job you're feeling, a software engineer, data analyst, PR marketing person, whatever job you want to do, you can customize it like that. You can set it to the number of jobs you want to do, trigger it at whatever time. You can make sure you've got your CV uploaded into your Google Drive and make sure the URL that you're selecting is to do with your CV. The matching is more or less the same. The AI agent is more or less a similar step. And the create a document, this is going to be wherever your location is that you want to save it in your Google Drive. And even if you don't want a Google Drive, you can put it in whatever location you want. It's just going to be a different connection. So a SharePoint site, for example, that you want. There's loads more stuff that you can do with this and enhance it further. So, if you wanted to send it to email, if you want to even populate some web forms, you want to customize, you want to improve your CV even further, add more prompts, make it better to specific types of jobs, all of that can be done. But this is a great way for you to get started in making your job applications a lot more quicker, which I know is a very strenuous task to be able to tailor it to every single job description. So hopefully you found that demonstration quite helpful. And if you're trying to build it out yourself, I hope it helps you with your own job applications. And even if you're not building out yourself, hopefully you learned something along the way too. If you're a business owner as well watching this, or someone who's interested in building solutions like this out for yourself, then I've got a ton of links dropped below about my agency and how we can connect. So until next time, keep working smarter with AI. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff on this video. And I'll catch you guys next time.